Hello, I'm Andy, and I'm going to read to you a program called Jupiter Retrograde Effect until November the 7th of 2021. And this is specially for you coming from Libra. Before I begin, here's my email. Send me an email if you wish to know your next 9 years based on your date of birth, your time of birth, and looking at your palms. And I'll show you how to formulate your own personal lucky lottery numbers if you like to play lotteries. And I'll show you how to reach that supernatural energy within you as well. We'll talk more about that later. Now, regarding the Jupiter retrograde, because the calendar year 2021 is moving very quickly, you have to be careful that whatever you plan, you have to control it because your ideas may be just too big. And of course, when you take off during the period of Jupiter retrograde or even plan it or implement it, then you're going to have difficulties. So be careful during this period of retrograde. Mentally, you may be very excited and overly wanting to get things done. And physically, you can have accidents and even health issues. And in areas of romance and marriage, things can go very, very wrong as well. Be careful what you say and what you do. You never want to show domination and you never want to show control over others. Because if you do that during this Jupiter retrograde period, you get yourself into a real mess with people. And try your best. Rather than grow or enlarge, try to consolidate, which means what you have, look after. You might as well just do that. This Jupiter retrograde is going to have a bad effect on many countries where in the horoscope of the country's Jupiter position is strong. Then they will have difficulties where whatever commitments they have got into are going to fail very miserably. And also, the natural forces of floods and fires and earthquakes will all be seen dramatically to leave a trail of disaster of some kind. Now, in our cases, being human beings, the periods that are most involved in this Jupiter retrograde, if you happen to be born in the period of Cancer or Leo or Virgo or Libra, you are going to have a horoscope which is very actively, one way or another, affected by Jupiter. Basically, if you know people who are born in the period of Cancer, Leo, Sagittarius, Scorpio, and Aries, tell them that Jupiter retrograde may even help them to start something or to find a way how to enlarge and expand things. So retrograde is not always bad. It's not 100% bad for 100% the population. Some will actually benefit from it. But if you know people who are born in the period of Gemini, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, Libra, Aquarius, and Pisces, tell them to be very careful because these people are going to be very badly affected, not only by the Jupiter retrograde, but because the ending of 2021 brings a lot of possibilities of going very wrong. Regarding the ages, I like to talk about ages because not everybody 100% in the world is going to be badly affected. Certain ages will be either badly affected or may get more advantage from this Jupiter retrograde. So you coming from Libra, if you happen to be the ages of 24 or 33 or 42 or 51 or 60 or 69 or 70, 69 or 78, then you're going to do very well. And even for people who are, for example, 88 years old, they may also do very well. So these ages, if you are, then you're going to have things going very well for you during this period of the retrograde. And you may just have wonderful opportunities come your way. And the Jupiter retrograde may just prepare you to have a much better life in 2022 as well. So a lot happens regarding the ages. Not everybody in Libra is going to be either badly off or wonderfully on for the Jupiter retrograde. A lot depends on ages. I'm going to give you another sample of ages where I worry for you if you're of these ages. And if you happen to be the ages of 18 or 27 or 36 or 45 or 54 or 63 or 72 or 81, tell yourself to be especially very cautious and careful that whatever you plan, whatever you begin, or whatever you end during this Jupiter retrograde, it will always be a source of problems for you, whether in the personal areas of romance, marriage, and family, whether in financial, business, and job areas, whether even in health areas. And accidents will be very prone due to this retrograde. The influence of retrograde doesn't just snap on and snap off. The leakage is always there. It leaves a trail. So be careful of these ages. For the other ages which I've not mentioned, you should have a 90-minute session with me so that we can get down to see planets like Mercury, Saturn, Venus, and Uranus, how well they are placed in you. You coming from Libra. And if they are well placed, well, you're going to have a sparkling life. And also the other planets against you, we want to see what's happening with them. So I have a 90-minute session for you, which can help you very, very much. But more about this Jupiter retrograde. It affects countries. It affects the natural ecology of countries, the area of fires, floods, earthquakes. You're going to have more and more of that. And the leakage will go on even after November the 7th, because the aftermath of the Jupiter retrograde will be felt for quite a while, even next year. So it all depends on how your planets are either exalted or not during your horoscope period. So the only way to now know the aftermath of Jupiter retrograde, which means in 2022 how you are going to do, will be to perhaps have a 90-minute session with me, which will just cost you USD $50 to know your next 9 years based on your date of birth, your time of birth, and looking at your palms. Looking at palms is something very special. Nobody can ever have palms like yours. Whereas on your date of birth, a few 100,000 people are actually born. So you're sharing your birthdays with many people, but never your palm. And that's what I do. I read your palms as well. Now, coming back to this retrograde, the affected planets are Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Moon, and Neptune. So they include the opportunities to migrate. Some may have a good chance coming about them, but you coming from Libra, the chances will be opposite. Plans may be delayed for migration. Plans may be delayed for growing anything, whether it's growing your plans or expanding your ideas. And you should be very, very careful of the sea during this expansion of the Jupiter retrograde period. Don't go into the sea. It can be a very dangerous place for you. Well, I look forward to one day being able to do a 90-minute session with you, which will only cost you USD $50 to know your next 9 years based on your date of birth, your time of birth, looking at your palms. Very special thing. And during these 9 years, I will tell you your ups and downs so that you will be able to know how to capitalize on them. We'll go very quickly through these 9 years. And your lucky colors and lucky gemstones and lucky days and lucky directions, I will teach you that as well, as much as possible. But most of all, I will show you how to reach that wonderful, powerful energy already inside you, your soul. And when you can activate energy with your soul, that's when you become special. Like the people we see who are so special in the world, coming out with fabulous ideas. All that can also easily happen for you. So all these energies I will teach you. And here's my email again. Just send me this email. Let me come back to you. And if any other questions you have, you may ask me questions through an email. And I look forward to helping you know your next 9 years to become somebody very special. So there we go. In the meantime, I wish you a good life. And remember, Jupiter retrograde will affect many countries, many governments. So many people are going to be caught very badly in countries where the planet Jupiter and the associated planets are moving very erratically. So whichever country you are, tell yourself nothing is very stable. Try to keep your feet on the ground. Don't be too dreamy and look for adventure. I hope to see you one day for a 90-minute session. Until then, I wish you a good life. Thank you. Goodbye.